Alright, what's up? So, I played a few horror games here recently, so I want to just kind of quickly tear through them. Most notably, I wanted to finish up Silent Hill Origins because I'd started playing it like last year, but I hadn't had a chance to finish it up. Now, I played this before, of course, so I'm just replaying it. Yeah, I started playing it, and I was basically in the theater, which is pretty much the halfway point. So I finished up that whole thing and went to the hotel and did that whole thing. Now, I always thought that Silent Hill Origins was really cool. But playing through it this time, I was getting so annoyed because I had forgotten a lot of the enemies lunge at you or run at you. And I'm like, this isn't Silent Hill, dude. Silent Hill, the enemies are supposed to be slow and lumbering where you can just kind of walk past them and not engage if you don't want to. But you can engage if you need to. If you need to get an enemy out of a room or out of the way or that kind of thing. But with Silent Hill Origins, you walk into a room and the enemy just lunges at you and grabs onto you. And then you have this, QTE that you have to get out of. I'm like, what the heck is this crap? Other than that, the story is really cool and the mechanic is really cool because the game is based on a series of mirrors, and so when you start the level, there's several checkpoints throughout the level where there's a mirror in the room, and if you interact with the mirror, you go from the current world to the scary nightmare world, or what do you want to call it. So there might be puzzles where a door is unlocked in one world, so you have to go into the other world to get through the door to get something to go back to the previous world to interact with that door or something like that. So it's kind of cool, and it's kind of like the medium. So I guess I really think that the medium, they got their idea from Silent Hill Origins because of just the way it's set up. It's very similar. The only difference was the medium, when you're in the nightmare world or whatever, it was on the screen simultaneous with the actual world, whereas with Silent Hill you have to go into one into the other. But I mean, we're talking, this is 2006, it was a PlayStation Portable game, so there's only so much you can do. All in all, I really still think that Silent Hill Origins is probably my third favorite Silent Hill game out of the entire cornucopia of Silent Hill games. But, so I really had some fun with that. So I've been talking to my cousin about the Silent Hill movies. We were talking about how much they got right in Silent Hill 1. And when we were talking about Silent Hill Revelation, I was like, man, I haven't played Silent Hill 3 in so freaking long. I'm going to have to refresh my memory on this. So I went through and just played Silent Hill 3 from front to back in 2 different sessions. I wanted to just do it in one session, but things got in the way, so I had to break it up. So anyway, played it front to back, and then as soon as I got done playing Silent Hill 3, I immediately watched Silent Hill Revelation to see how much of each thing they got right. Now, Silent Hill 3 is pretty cool. I had forgotten about some of the elements in that game. It had been so long since I played it that I forgot a lot of it. And so it was kind of cool to refresh my memory and to be able to dive back in. The only thing that I didn't like about Silent Hill 3 was I felt like the levels were much bigger than what they should have been. Especially when you get to Brookhaven Hospital. I feel like Brookhaven Hospital was infinitely long because, much like in Silent Hill 2, you go through the hospital in normal world, and then you go through the hospital again in nightmare world. But it seemed like, unlike Silent Hill 2, in Silent Hill 3, dang near the entire hospital is at your disposal, because I think in Silent Hill 2, some of the floors were blocked off in either one world or the other. But with this one, it was like, if I remember correctly, the whole entire thing was at your disposal. There was that, and there was an office building. And again, there was like 5 different floors you had to travel through the office building. And then you go to the nightmare world, and you got to go to 5 different floors on the nightmare world. And let's not even talk about the very first level or whatever in the game is the mall. And so you had this entire shopping mall at your disposal. The levels were much bigger than anything before either Silent Hill 1 or Silent Hill 2. So the levels are much bigger. There's a lot more content going on. I think I finished the game in like 7 hours. So it wasn't that big of a thing. But Silent Hill 2, I can beat that in like 4 hours. 3:45 maybe if I'm really booking it. So yeah, there's definitely a difference when it comes to the breadth and scale of the game versus that. But I did think it was very interesting though in the fact that they actually got a lot more right from the movie to the game than I thought they did. Barring certain characters dying in the game that didn't die in the movie, and certain characters that died in the movie that didn't die in the game. So I thought that was kind of an interesting take, because like the only NPC that's left alive at the end of the game dies in the movie, and then the NPCs that die in the game were left alive in the movie. So I'm like, that's kind of weird that they did a complete flip-flop as far as that goes. And I thought it was interesting how at the very end of Silent Hill Revelation, you have Heather, you have Travis, and you have what's-his-face from Silent Hill Downpour, I can't remember his name. So you have three protagonists basically all on the screen at the same time, just kind of, you know, passing each other like ships in the night. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That was kind of cool. But that would have been interesting if they'd done another movie with Travis. But I think that they were just wanting to give him a nod and just leave it at that. But all in all, I enjoyed my time with Silent Hill 3. I look forward to the next movie, and I look forward to playing the Silent Hill 2 remake once it finally eventually drops. And then the final game that I was playing was Dead Space Remake. So I finally got a chance to pick up Dead Space Remake a year later. And I really enjoyed the very first Dead Space game. I mean, the whole trilogy is interesting in and of itself, but the first one is especially good. And so I wanted to check out the remake to see, you know, how good that they did on that. And the remake, by all intents and purposes, is an absolute fantastic outing. I mean, it's very similar. It's not exactly, but it's very similar to the Demon Souls remake, in the fact that they respected the source material, and they're like, well, we're going to take what we've already done and we're just going to elevate it and improve on the core ethos of the game. So they basically have, I mean, what you're playing is essentially the original Dead Space game. It's just better graphics and quality of life improvements, and they did make some changes here and there to the narrative and to what's going on, but by and far it's still the same game. It seemed like the game was a lot more difficult than I remember the original being. There were many points to where basically, you know, you're locked in a room and you're killing everybody, and at the very end of it you're just completely out of ammo. And now I'm like, well, I can't go on because I have absolutely no ammo. I have no money to buy any ammo. And so it makes a really tense situation, because as a player you're like, I'm on the complete wrong footing to be continuing in this mission in this level, but I have to continue in this mission in this level to see it through. But you're just like, man, I wish I could have more supplies right now. And that greatly changes when you change the difficulty level. I mean, if you put it on story mode, you're given so much supply that you don't have any slots to hold all the supplies that you're given. So you can change out with the difficulty sliders. But by and large, the game is really cool. So if anybody hasn't played either the original Dead Space or the Dead Space remake, I would highly recommend it. It's a spooky game. It's an isolation game. It's a claustrophobic game. And I thought they did an exceptional job with the sound design. You know, I have a surround sound system, and so it was really interesting hearing the monsters and whatnot kind of scuttling around in the speakers and the placement. So hats off to the sound design team. They did an exceptional job in delivering that fearful, you know, heart-racing type of sound design. But I don't have much else to say. I just wanted to quickly run through these three games that I was checking out. It was just a kind of a survival horror week, if you will. But I guess next up on the burner is I'll probably be getting Resident Evil 4, so I can finally go through that. And I'll be playing Silent Hill: The Short Message sometime this evening. Really excited to check that out. So I guess the horror games will continue. But I guess that's all there is, so thanks for watching, and peace out.